I'm happy to hand over to Alexander. He's the managing director of the Elsevier Corporate Markets Group. Some of you might know him from presentations we had in Amsterdam, where he was the director of Elsevier's S&T strategy. So, Alexander.
Thank you, Thomas. Cocktail on the Japanese terrace sounds ominous. That it will be short cocktails. No, but thank you very much all for being here. I know that with this kind of weather, just getting out of the hotel already deserves a medal. What I would like to do in the next 30 minutes is, from an Elsevier perspective, touch on how we see the landscape changing, specifically from a customer needs perspective, and what that means for Elsevier, how we are reacting to that, and also put some of the rest of the agenda of today into a context. We're touching on content integration, mobile applications, cyber, the ROI study, which are all key components in our overall strategy for the corporate markets. So I'd like to show you how we believe those components fit in and why we think they are extremely important. Just as a quick background, and I'll quickly go through the first couple of slides, what is Elsevier today? It's about a $3 billion company. It is a truly global company. We have operations in more than 180 countries across the world, more than 7,000 employees. We serve about 30 million scientists on a daily basis. I mean, our bread and butter business is a daily interaction with scientists, providing them the core information they need. We publish 2,500 journals, more than 2,000 new books every year, and leading electronic platforms and solutions. And I'll touch on those a bit more going forward. Our overarching objective hasn't changed over the last 120 years that Elsevier has been in existence. We exist to contribute to the progress and application of science by delivering superior information products and tools that build insights and enable advancements in research. And as I'll come back through this presentation, what we do hasn't changed over the last 120 years. How we do it is changing on a daily basis, driven by those evolving customer needs. And I think the key thing here, and also most relevant for what we do in the corporate markets, is the application of science. It's not so much just delivering scientific information, it's making that information much more applied to the key business problems that our customers face. The cornerstone of Elsevier, and I think our key competitive differentiator, and what sets us apart from some of our biggest competitors, is our content position. Today, Elsevier still publishes roughly 26% of the English language scientific literature, and that is a truly global reflection. If you would compare that to 10 years ago, China now is the #2 country from which we get articles. And we expect that in the next 6 or 7 years, China will be the biggest contributor to the body of science that Elsevier publishes. If you go back 1638, when the predecessor of Elsevier, the House of Elsevier, published one of the key books of Galileo, you could say that from 1638 to about 1980, not very much changed in the world of publishing. It was about getting the best information, identifying the best information, providing the best infrastructure to publish that information, and then distributing that information in print. That was, I think, what publishing did for about 300 years. And if you look at what happened from the late 90s to now, the publishing world was revolutionized and transformed significantly by providing electronic access to that same information. Just if you look at from an Elsevier perspective, the number of articles we publish now is about 290,000. But if you look at the number of total articles on Science Direct, 10 million, but then the usage of that, more than 600 million downloads per year. The key thing for me here is that access to scientific literature, which was up to about 1995 and 96, given to largely Western-based large universities where you'd have 10 to 50 publications sitting on library shelves. 95% of the world's libraries today have access to Science Direct and scientific literature across the world. I mean, the access problem that we faced has pretty much been solved. The key thing now is that how do we make that information much more applied? It's not much more on how do we give access to information, but how do we give it the best access possible. Now, if we look at customer needs, they are changing rapidly. The key thing that we are seeing is that there is more and more freely available information out there. And very often, it is not the perfect answer, but it's good enough. And a lot of our users are saying, well, for those problems that are not that critical, that good enough content that is freely available serves our needs. Which goes into the second point, that our customers are having increasing expectations around paid for information. If we're going to pay for an information product, it better be extremely good and exactly what I need. So you're looking at personalization. It has to be in line with very specific customer needs. And it needs to be distinctively better than free information out there, which means that our customers are putting more and more focus on productivity, integrated content, and collaboration. And that's where the ROI study comes in, that Rusty will be talking about later. If we can help our customers demonstrate that a specific information product will either increase productivity, because it reduces the time that people are searching for information, or, gets even better, it helps our customers to make a better decision because they get information that helps them to assess risks. That is the information product that people want to buy. So it puts a much higher burden on us as an information provider to develop products that demonstrably make sense. But it also means that the products that are coming out are much better than the products that were out there before. The second big change that accelerates those customer needs is technology. And technology, I think for me, is really enabling a lot of the changes that we're seeing happening today in information. You see these vast amounts of data that we could never mine, that we could never bring together. Nowadays we can bring together. And we have the technology to start bringing relationships into these vast amounts of data that before only a handful of the very large companies in the world could do. And the second thing is that that technology brings alternative access channels. We're going to be talking about mobile. Wouldn't be possible a couple of years ago. Open platforms, video, all areas where Elsevier is investing in to make sure that we can give you the information at the point where you need it. Now, these are huge changes for an information provider. Where we were a traditional publisher for more than 100 years, we are now becoming much more of a technology company. If we don't embrace technology, we will not be able to address those customer needs. So what does this concretely mean for Elsevier? 4 areas, and I'll give you an example in each area. Number 1, which we recognized already about 5 years ago, but we are going deeper and deeper, is that customer needs are different. If you really want to serve the corporate market, you're looking at a completely different approach from the academic market. And even within the corporate market, serving a pharma customer or serving an oil and gas company, 2 completely different worlds. You need different information products, even if the base information is the same. The way you're going to present it to the customer, the way the customer is interacting with that information, what is asking from that information is vastly different. So from a company that churned out huge amounts of information and then gave it to our users and said, here you go, here's fantastic information, now please use it, we now need to understand exactly what are our users looking for in that information. It means sitting down with our customers and actually understanding what are the problems they're facing. We are a leading content provider, and we want to stay a leading content provider. So one of the absolute pillars of our strategy is to keep investing in the quality of our content and in the breadth of our content. So we will continue investing in how we provide our content. If you look at Science Direct, the format of our articles is changing dramatically as we start using technology as it truly can. An article is no longer an electronic version of a print article. Articles are becoming truly interactive. We are starting to add third-party content. We believe that people are not just want to have Elsevier content. If you ask a question, you want to have the feeling that you're getting all the content out there. So working with other publishers, with third-party providers, and trying to see how we could integrate that content into our platforms is a key priority for us. Workflow tools is then taking that information and making it very specific. And I'll give you a couple of examples on what I see as a workflow tool. But for me, a workflow tool is the combination of superior content technology, and a very clear customer need. It is understanding exactly what the customer wants and then providing that content at the point of need. Geofacets is an oil and gas tool, which I'll discuss in a couple of minutes, which we just launched. We are about to launch a tool specifically targeted at biofuels professionals. Illuminate, there to accelerate innovation. And Cyvel are performance and planning tools for the academic markets.